Hello, people, and welcome to this new lesson. So today I want to show you what I believe is the best system to start building a vocabulary of linear grooves. Just a quick reminder of what a linear groove is. We're talking about grooves where our limbs are never going to be playing unisons. So hands or feet are never going to be playing together. What about the system? What is a system exactly? Basically, a system translates into a set number of rules that would allow us to deeply explore a controlled environment in a creative way. Imagine it as a creative playground where you can have all the fun that you want, but only in that specific fence. I'm sure you might have already taken a look at other systems like a non-linear eighth note groove system. This type of system is a little bit easier because you're going to set a number of rules that will actually never change. Like in this case, hi-hat on every eighth note, snare in 2 and 4. And the bass drum will be freed up to create more independence, generally by either improvising or reading a page. When it comes to linear, though, things get a little more complicated because we cannot operate with a system that is going to be completely static. As a matter of fact, the system is going to adapt and change based on what we're going to be doing with our bass drum in this specific case. So how do we deal with this? The point here is to find as many anchors as possible in order to make the system as predictable as possible. So what are going to be these anchors? First, we're always going to have an accented snare on 2 and 4 as a backbeat. Second, this backbeat is always going to be played with our left hand. And third, the right hand will always play all the E's and the U's of the 16-note grid. So if we actually stop there and think about it for a second, we actually do have an ostinato. We have snare on 2 and 4 with our left hand, and the E's and the U's on the hi-hat with our right hand, which sounds like this. So if this is our ostinato, it'll also mean that everything else, and by everything else I mean bass drum and left hand ghost note game, will change based on what groove we're playing. Bass drum will guide in this case. So anytime we play a bass drum with our foot, we will not play a ghost note and vice versa. You could also look at this system as a single stroke roll starting with our left hand, and then we'll play a backbeat on 2 and 4 that will stop playing anytime a bass drum is hit. Now, if we don't put any bass drums on it, it sounds like this. Now, to make the interaction between our bass drum and our left hand possible within the system, the bass drum will only have to play figures that will fall into the category of quarter notes, eighth notes soft beats, and quarter notes rests. Any subdivision with a lower value than that will not work for this one. But remember, this wants to be a good starter for people who want to get into linear grooves. So the figures that I just mentioned will be more than enough to find dozens of new grooves. Now, I believe that the best way to start learning a new system is to start by learning a few grooves that will belong to that system. Pre-thought grooves are great because they're going to be some kind of prepared recipe that will get us started with something that feels at least kind of weird and unfamiliar. Sure, at some point we will want to be completely free with the system, but throwing ourselves into improvising with the system right away will just be too much. So let's take it slow and learn some grooves first. Okay, groove 1. This is going to have a bass drum on 1, a bass drum on 3, and the end of 3. And it will sound like this. All right, groove 2. This one will have a bass drum on 1, and then a bass drum on the end of 2, end of 3, and the end of 4. And it sounds like this. Now, group 3 is going to be pretty interesting because we're going to break the main rule of linear, which is no unisons. Specifically, we're going to be playing a bass drum on the backbeat of 4. Now, this is not going to be a problem because we will not have to change anything with our system because of this. Just remember, we said that the backbeat on 2 and 4 will always stay the same. So we will simply put a bass drum on the 4 and we'll accept it as an exception. So for group 3, we will have a bass drum on 1, a bass drum on the end of 2, and a bass drum on 4. And it sounds like this. Okay, awesome. Now that we have a little more confidence with the system, let's try to take 8 different bars and try to read them and interpret them in real time and see what grooves come out of them. If you feel like you're having some trouble with this approach, feel free to take just one bar, a couple bars, and to loop them and practice them until they feel comfortable. This is going to be up to you. You'll be measuring yourself to see when you're ready to move to the next phase or to read even 16 bars at once. So the final step of this approach would be to get rid of all the things that we've seen so far and start coming up with grooves on the spot without having to read them. Welcome to improv territory. Okay, that's it for this one, guys. Let me know in the comments if there's any groove that you were able to pull off with the system that you found particularly cool or fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you very soon.